Hello, 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 world changers. Welcome to day 3 of the World Class Ticket to 2024. Thank you for joining us on this 3-week journey of getting you ready, getting your brand ready to have a world class 2024. So, for those of you who are new to our page, my name is Lucrece Guzma. I'm the brand designer here at Invisiate Creative Agency, where we provide creative media solutions for world class brands like yourself. Feel free to say hi in the comments so I can say hi back. And if you're watching the replay, just put hashtag replay. And today, we're going to get into your brand visuals and we're going to talk about the do's and the don'ts, what you should do with your brand identity, what you shouldn't. And yeah, so hopefully today's lesson will be valuable for you. All right. So, first, let us talk about your brand identity. Your brand identity, it includes your logo, your colors, your fonts, your tagline, and your imagery. That's what's included in your brand identity. And there are some logo rules, believe it or not. And your logo is how people know who your brand is, and there is a proper way to use your logo anywhere it's posted, whether online or in print. So here are a few tips and also a demonstration so you can see what we mean. Rule number one, don't ever stretch your logo. Stretching means like you take your logo and kind of, stretch it out of proportion and it doesn't look right. Don't ever do that and don't ever let anyone do that to your logo. And tip number two, on dark backgrounds, as you can see in my demonstration here, if you have a dark background, it's better that you use a white version of your logo as opposed to trying to put a white background to the logo that you already have. And I'll show that in a few minutes, what that looks like. So get a white version of your logo. Ask your designer for one. Us here, we always provide at least a white version of the logo. If you don't have one, let us know. We'll make sure we get that to you um, because it looks more professional. So that's tip number two. Number three, don't cut off your logo to fit a certain space. So we want to see the full identity. So try not to cut it off. And then make sure that your logo is a vector. A vector is basically a type of file that ensures that no matter how big you stretch, your logo is supposed to look good on anything. So whether it's on a billboard or on a bus or on social media graphics, it's not supposed to look blurry. So that's what a vector does. So unfortunately, a lot of people who are starting out, they like to do the Canva logos, which is fine. It's okay to start with online, but once you start getting into printing for on billboards or printing on clothing or signage and things like that, you're going to need a vector logo. And Canva logos are not vector at the moment. We don't know if in the future that will change, but right now they don't do that. So be careful with that and think about that. So let's get into a quick demo so I can show you what I mean here. Um, Here we have this is a logo of one of our clients, Angel Expression. So let's look at the do's. So if it's a color logo like you see here on the left here, and it's on a light background, you could use that. But if you want to put it on a dark background, it's better you use a white version. And here's what you don't do. You don't stretch your logo, number one. You see how this one kind of looks out of proportion? And also, if you're trying to put it on a dark background, don't put a white background behind it. It's supposed to be transparent in the background, like here on the left. And then that other tip I mentioned about not cutting off your logo, this is what I meant by, making sure that we see your whole brand identity. Okay? So like for example here, if I show you her her website, you will see that her logo is presented properly on her website. So I'm going to show you that real quick so you can see. All right. So as you can see, her logo is properly put. You have a transparent background, and it's a white version of the logo that she has. Same thing here. Um, she has color logo on white, and she has a white version of this logo because the background is a little dark. So that's how you properly use your logo. Okay. All right. So next, let's get into colors and fonts. Colors and fonts. That's so important here. Brand colors and fonts are also important there, and there are ways that you use that as well. So, number one, ensure that your social media and your website colors match, that it flows. So when people go from one to another, that they can quickly identify you. Also, if you don't have any exact colors, you can use tints, and I'll show you an example in a few minutes how that looks. And then third, use contrast in your design. So, say for example, if you have like a light background, you would probably use a dark color on the light background. If you have a dark background, you would use a light color on the background because you want it to be visible, whatever you're trying to communicate. So use contrast in your presentations. Okay. So let's take a look at fonts now. Fonts, use your fonts correctly. Use headings. So as you can see, even here in the presentation, there's some hierarchy. That's what it's called, like order. You have big fonts, like the headings. They're in, a bigger size, and you have subtitles, and then you have the paragraphs and the details. Always have some type of order on your page or whatever you're doing. So use headings for important information such as titles, and then use subtitles to explain something in a short sentence, and then use body text for like paragraphs or more details that you want to put. And one important thing I'd like to mention is choose clarity over beauty. Choose clarity over beauty. Sometimes we see like an amazing font and we think it looks great, but if the person can't read it and can't understand it, it kind of defeats the purpose. So choose clarity over beauty, and be sure that your font choices are readable. So let's take, for example, here in New Med Spa, and this is their brand style guide. Like I mentioned, you have their logo and their all their elements here, and they have their colors here. So what I meant about colors, if you can't find the exact color, you can use tints. This is what I meant. A tint is basically a shade lighter of the original color based on a certain percentage. So that's what a tint is. So if you find a tint, as long as it flows with your brand, it will work. Um, and let's talk about fonts. As you can see, she has guidelines for her fonts, and I'm going to show you how that looks on her, on her web website. So she has like a header. Yeah, always have a header font, always have a subtitle, and always have body text. So this is how you use it properly. And notice in her guidelines, the cursive one, it looks beautiful, but you can't use it everywhere because you want people to be able to understand. So you want to make sure that we put like, okay, it's for logo or for decoration only, so we won't go overboard with this one. All right. And imagery as well. It's important to at least have an idea what type of imagery you want. You want it to match, like I said on Monday, you want things to be cohesive. So try to do that as well. So let's see how that translates. Let's see how that translates into her website so you could see how it's applied. All right, so here's her website here. As you can see, her website has hierarchy, and you can see her colors are incorporated and everything. So she has a header. Let's talk about fonts first. She has a header, she has subtitles, and even down here, she has a header. And subtitles can also be used on top of a header. They do that now. You can do that. And notice like details like that's important but not too detailed, you can use it as a subtitle. And then the body, you could use whatever you want in the body. That's fine. Same thing here. Notice the decorative. Um, she put that information here. You could use it as a decoration, but we won't put it overloaded on the site. And here are the tints that I was talking about. You could use tints. So everything still looks cohesive when you have that, when you follow those guidelines. So it keeps everything on point. And even when you go to her Instagram page, I wanted to show you this. When you go to her Instagram page, you could see that everything is still cohesive as well, using the same fonts, same colors, different designs. You can be creative with what you want to do, but everything has to flow. And let me talk about the logo. Remember, I told you it has to be vector. So if your logo is not vector, there's certain things you can't do in your, like, for example, she has signage. Let me look for it really quick for you. If you could see on her image here, she has signage behind her. So her logo is a vector. So in order for you to do that signage so it could look right, it has to be a vector. So I know Canva is a very affordable and cheap way to do things, but you have to have a vector logo. It has to look good on anything. So that's what I wanted to mention with that. So, her colors, her imagery all fits together because of her brand guidelines. Okay, so that's what I wanted to mention with that demo. All right. So let's talk about some other tips. I want to mention some other tips for you. So some other design tips I wanted to mention were to keep your text within your margins. Whenever you're designing something new, try to keep it within your margins. And also, like I told you, create some order in how you place things. Not only do you place text in the proper place, but whatever items you're putting on the page, try to have some kind of order. Basically, whatever is most important would be the biggest, and whatever is like details and least important, you would make it smaller. And then make sure your images and your text are, evenly spaced. All right, so let's try a demo of what I mean by that. I like to show examples so you could get a better idea. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really, really quick here. So I'm going to show you an example of this is like a demo. It's not a real brand. So this is something we made up just for as an example so you could see. This is called Sweet Cakes Bakery. This is a fake bakery. It's not real. But Sweet Cakes this is their branding. So you could tell they like fun, colorful cakes. That's their thing. So as you can see, they have brand guidelines. They have a header. They have subtitles. You will see that consistently throughout their brand, and their colors are pink and this little aqua color, and they got a lot going on here because they want to be colorful. Okay, so this is just a demo. All right, and now let's say they want to do a quick little flyer just to let everybody know what they're doing in, you know, with whatever. So let's take a look here. We're going to create a little flyer on the go. It's not going to be perfect, but I just wanted to illustrate what I meant by keeping your margins in your spaces. So um, I have some text here. I'm going to use, this is the logo that we have, which we'll touch on that in a minute. But let's start placing the text. Now, there's something that I noticed a lot of people try to do. If you're on Canva, if you use Canva, I don't know if you noticed that there's these pink lines all around here. That there's a reason why, because that's your safe zone for your text. Try to keep whatever text you have inside that safe zone. Anything outside of that, it might look a little weird. Um, unless you're doing something, you know, unless you're doing a design that's different from this spacing and you need more space, make sure the space is even around there and try to adjust your margins. But let's say I just want to tell everybody here, come here, and come to Sweet Cakes and get some cakes. So we just gonna do a quick little flyer. So whenever you place text, place the biggest one first. Decide how you want to do it. If you want to do left, if you want to do center, or if you want to do right, it's up to you. Um, in this case, I'm gonna do left. I'm gonna try different colors and see what's gonna work on here. White, I obviously can't see that. Yellow, we can't see that. Blue, no. Pink, no. Black, maybe, but I kind of don't like it. So what we can do, here's a trick you can do in Canva. Um, what you could do is detach the image from the background and change the background to like a dark color and then reattach it back. Make sure it stretches out the way you want it. This is whenever your text is too light and you still want the picture to show up like it's, clear, but um, you could now click on the page and then go to the transparency and then just bring it a little bit darker here. And then if you change it back to white now, they'll be able to see it a little better. So this is like a little short little trick you could use. Same thing with here. I'm gonna do a subtitle. Subtitles are a little bigger than the body, but I'm gonna do that in white as well. This is not gonna be perfect. This is just to illustrate how to properly order things. You could do whatever you want with what you have. And then we have this body text here, which is a little smaller. So let's go here. So, so whenever you place text, put it in order. You can start with the bigger size, and then the subtitle size, and then the body. You could put the details of how you want this to be, and you can design whatever you want with this. This is just a demo. Now notice my logo is pink and you can't really see it. So remember the rule, don't put any white background behind it. Just, make sure you have a white version of your logo. So let me ungroup it real quick and we're going to change the color to white so people can be able to see it. And we're almost there. So I just wanted to illustrate hierarchy and color transitions because that's so important. We just want to make sure we let our clients see what we're doing clearly. Okay? So so yeah, now it's white so people can see it better. And you could put a call to action here if you want, like, oh, you know, visit here, whatever you want to do. You could put whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. But the whole point is to make sure you have some hierarchy with your text and keep your text within here, within those pink guidelines. That's what's important. So I probably would put this at the top. Um, maybe make this a little smaller. It's up to you how you want to do things. It's just to show a demonstration. Always use hierarchy in whatever you're doing. Sometimes you might not need body text, but it's up to you. And you could, yeah, work that out. All right. At least it has some order and people can see what's going on here. And you could change colors and design whatever you want. The whole point is for you to have order in there. Okay. So normally I'll probably work on this a little bit more to kind of perfect it, but that's how hierarchy works. Okay. And make sure you have, contrast in your um in your design. So same thing if I would take this and I would put it on a darker background like this here, this little chocolate cake one, you could put it in here. Okay? You could do that. If I was going to use it on here, if I was going to use the same design on here, there are some adjustments I would have to make. I already changed the background color of this one, I believe, but you could adjust that little trick I told you just to make it a little darker so they can see it. It doesn't have to be black, it could be any color. All right, just as long as they could see what you're doing. All right, but you could have fun and design however you want to do it, but stay within your margins and have order and make sure you space things evenly. You know, Canva makes it easy for you to space things in between. So that just makes things a little bit more orderly so people can understand what you're designing. All right. Hopefully that demo was helpful. Oh, okay. Cat Pons asked if the logo created was in Canva or uploaded. Actually, yeah, I created that in Canva. I created it in Canva, but what I did, I took it and put it in my normally I would take it and put it into Illustrator and turn it into a vector so it could look good on anything else. But this was for the demo, so I just created it there. But the logo itself, I had to go into Illustrator and make it a vector, so it could look good on everything. Thank you for joining, Kat. All right. So hopefully this demo was helpful. And yeah, that's that's all for today. And we're going to go ahead and share what the homework assignment is for today and review how you've been designing. Kat said, "Oh, okay, all right, yeah. You have to turn it into a vector. Even if you're doing, even after you get your brand's logo done, and you need like some other stuff you want to create, you have to turn it into a vector. I'll do another video another day to show how to do that in Illustrator. It's actually pretty interesting and good, easy to do. But I'll show how to do that in another video. All right. So your homework is to review how you've been designing and just make some adjustments and work on it. And and those of you who are in the Destiny 31 group, feel free if you need me to give comments or feedback on something like, hey, how does this look? Just let me know. And I'll be more than happy to do that. Um, and those of you who haven't joined that Facebook group, just let me know. I'll send you an invite and you can join. All right. So thank you so much for joining. If you need help or anything concerning your brand, feel free to, check us out and schedule a free discovery call with us. We'll be more than happy to help you with that. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you have a world class brand. So thank you so much. Have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of your lunch, your 7 minutes, and have a great one. Thank you.